Bison Video Blog coming your way on this game week. Second one coming up this season. Sam Goetzinger filling in for Don Izzo, back with Jeff Kolpack. This is my first one. So
is it? Well, you never know. You're a seasoned veteran already.
Well, I appreciate that. Guide me through. Have you recovered from this weekend, a full weekend of college football, North Dakota State, Colorado this last Thursday? After digesting it, any other takeaways from that NDSU game at all?
Well, no, I guess we really covered most of it, but when I look at the Bison performance, I think there's a couple questions.
Yeah.
And there's always questions after your first game. You know, they always say, the old cliche, you make your most improvement from the first week to second week, and certainly that's got to start in the secondary. I mean, you know, Ralphie would have been running loose, I think, against some of these looks that the Bison presented. But, okay, I get it. Shadir Sanders is good. Yep. And that guy's really good, Travis Hunter. They're top 10 NFL picks. I think Travis Hunter is probably a favorite, an early favorite for the Heisman race. I mean, let's just put it out there right now. That said, I didn't think the Bison were in the right spots at times. They looked a little lost back there at times. And there's certainly a room for improvement. And that's going to be, I think, focus 1A this week as they get ready for Tennessee State.
Offense for NDSU looked very good. Cam Miller is the Valley Offensive Player of the Week. Rightfully so. He had a fantastic week, over 300 total yards, couple of touchdowns both through the air, on the ground as well. Defense, like you mentioned, has some work to do. But now we transition into Tennessee State. And we've talked about Colorado so much. What do we know about Tennessee State's first-time opponent, isn't it?
Well, I mean, their head coach is certainly well known. Eddie George is obviously a great NFL player, trying to take this program, and it's got a lot tougher deal with this than Deion Sanders has at Colorado. For one, money. Let's call it like it is. And two, just taking a team that's never really been a consistent winner at any really certain high FCS level and try to build something into it. Now, Mississippi Valley, we've seen the Delta Devils over the years. The Bison have played them and never has been a great program. Plays like that don't help either when you get a pick or a scoop and score from a play that just wasn't very smart by the Mississippi Valley quarterback. This is the game of the year for Tennessee State. I mean, you look at their schedule. They open with Mississippi Valley, like I said. Then they have Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is nothing. Then they get into Ohio Valley play. This is their big deal. I mean, this is their, I hate to use the word Super Bowl, but I think it's their obviously big game of the year.
Head coach Eddie George talked about it at the beginning of the season, how important this game was for Tennessee State against North Dakota State. How do we judge this one? It's a game that the Bison should win. It's at this point not a matter of if they win, it's how they win. Is that correct? Is that the right way to look at it?
Yeah, no, I guess just style points. Is that what you're looking for? Maybe, I don't know. I think you got to look at a certain factor. You have Cam Miller, and so Cam Miller is just such a veteran. He looked good, so good against the Colorado Buffaloes, and I think you start there. I like to see a better run game this time around than Colorado. I think the head coach, Tim Polasek, said after the game that he would like to have seen his guys break a few more tackles. He said the opportunity was there, they just didn't do it. Now, that was Marty Brown's first game as a college starter, and I think he's got the ability to be that guy. Again, you can't judge him after one game against a Big 12 defense, but I think he showed a little juice, and he never went down so easy right away, and I think that's a critical factor. I look for Marty Brown to have perhaps a breakout game against Tennessee State, and then the passing game I think was real solid. But again, I go back to the defense, and are they going to be in the right spots in the defensive secondary? I think there's certainly some improvement that needs to be done there.
Well, and one thing with Tennessee State, their quarterback threw for over 350 yards. Again, like you mentioned, it was against a team that they should have beat fairly handedly, which they did by 20 points. Does that concern you going into this game?
Well, Draylon Ellis is a veteran player, transferred from Austin Peay. He had some Ohio Valley honors, like a freshman of the year, I think, for the Ohio Valley Conference, transferred within the league and going over to Tennessee State. I just he's a veteran guy. I don't know if he has the weapons that maybe he probably needs to beat NDSU. But anytime you have a senior quarterback, a guy that's been around, certainly cause for concern.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, we talked about the secondary. One other position group that you're keeping your eye on this second game of the season.
Well, defensive line. I think when you're going to be good in the Missouri Valley, when you're good on the defensive line. I mean, that to me is just one of those areas that's non-negotiable. And so the Bison got in the second half, they got a little more pressure, I thought. on Shadur Sanders. Now, Shadur was, I mean, his ability to evade a rush is really next level stuff. This guy doesn't have what Shadur Sanders has, but you want to see a few sacks. You want to see a 2nd and 18 here once in a while, and when you get an offense back on its heels, all of a sudden your secondary gets a little better. It all works together.
Right. Just 1 sack against Colorado this last week. We'll see how they do against Tennessee State. We're going to have Bison Game Day coming up this weekend on Saturday, starting at 10 o'clock. We'll have the usual hour-long show this weekend, and then kickoff at 2:30 with our coverage beginning at 2:20. You can catch all that on WDAY. Should be good. We're back in the full swing of it.
Home game. Let's go.
Let's
the
do
new
it.
changes there this week, too, so we'll see how that goes
Yeah.
on the game day presentation.
We'll see how it all goes. We'll have a full recap of everything coming up next week. After the game, we'll have coverage getting you ready for Tennessee State all throughout the week. But for now, this has been the Bison Video Blog. Jeff Kolpack, Sam Goetzinger, thanks for joining us.